You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Today on our Training Thursday show, one of my favorite topics. I love talking about nutritional supplements, and a lot of times I'm praising them. I really am, and I've said it before and I'll say it again. If it was not for nutritional supplements, I wouldn't be where I am today. I would not have the healthy body that I've always wanted to have. You know, as someone that literally had no energy, all sorts of digestive issues, their whole body hurt, was swollen, glands swollen, poor immune system, all of those different things. To be honest, when people said, oh, well, you just need whole foods and you just need to be doing this and that, I totally understood that. And I was from that ideal perspective as well. A lot of people don't understand, though, is when your body is so weak, when it can't digest food well enough, which most people don't know that this is an issue for them as well, when they're not producing enough digestive enzymes, hydrochloric acid, bile, there's not enough good bacteria in their gut, or there's an imbalance called gut dysbiosis, what happens is they can't actually manufacture the B vitamins, the vitamin K, the serotonin, all those good neurotransmitters and vitamins, and absorb the minerals that they're getting from the food. So you can eat the best foods in the world, but it doesn't matter if you're not able to extract that nutrition. So what I did in the beginning, I recommend to most people, is you eat well, of course, but you're also doing things in the beginning through nutritional supplements, safe ones, of course. But what I have to talk about today, though, is sometimes the dark side of that industry, where people who really only care about marketing, and believe me, this exists and exists more cases than not, is that most companies are not looking at from a functional medicine doctor or a health practitioner. You're looking at a place on Amazon or a marketing company, and what they're really trying to do is just sell you a nutritional supplement that was very inexpensive to produce, that's pretty cheap quality, and a lot of times, even though it can give you an intended effect like we're going to talk about today, it's certainly not something that you ever want to put in your body. So what I want to talk about today really are those dangers of taking pre-workout supplements. So what I want to talk about is the energy drinks, the things that with a lot of caffeine, but also a lot of the ingredients that you don't even know that are in there that are called so-called herbal or natural, where they're not necessarily that at all. So let's get right into it. A lot of people take a pre-workout drink. What does that mean? Well, it just means they're doing something to give their body more energy, whether it's more of like the famous ones like the energy drinks like a Monster drink or a Red Bull or a 5-hour energy. Like those are some of the more popular ones. But now there's also nutritional supplements. And again, I don't want to necessarily, this is what I'm going to be talking about the most, so I don't want to disparage any companies. However, they come as powders and they come as capsules, and they're given crazy names like Explode or Ignite or like Stacker or those types of things, where they're telling you the benefit of you're going to get more energy from taking this. And you know what? A lot of them do work. They do give you more energy, but as you're about to find out, at the long-term detriment of your health. And the reason is this: they act as a natural form of speed, like something that just pushes your body into fight or flight. Well, what does that mean? It makes you produce a larger amount of adrenaline, and it makes you produce a larger amount of cortisol. Well, why does that matter? That sounds like it might be a good thing. You get more energy. True, but what it means is when you produce more adrenaline and when you produce more cortisol, your body is under greater amounts of stress. That eventually leads to higher amounts of inflammation, cellular breakdown, tissue breakdown, kind of all the opposite that you would like to get out of that product in your workouts themselves. You can have adrenal-based issues. You can have thyroid-based issues because of that. You can age at a more rapid pace, and what happens is that product that you're now taking, you become reliant on it because you don't ever have any energy without taking that product. If you miss a a day or two, you know it, you feel it, and that's because your body has now been burnt out. And this product is what's giving you the artificial form of that energy or speed. So what do you need to look for? Well, I'm not going to pick on any one product because, again, my job with this show is to create a community of positivity, to build people up, to promote those things on like the Friday review of the authors, the books, the products, the supplements, the equipment, all the things that I love, that I use myself. And I'm very happy to promote and share what I use with others. And of course, from everyone in this industry, because it's such an amazing industry. But when it comes to talking about negatively, I don't like to talk about any one person or any one product. So what I'm going to say is I want you to look, if you're taking a pre-workout right now, is let's just totally discard any energy drink. And the reason is this: most of them are artificial sugar based, which hopefully you tuned in yesterday. If you didn't, you have to go back to the episode. It's about the best and worst sweeteners for wellness and weight loss. Really, really powerful show in my opinion. So please just go to stevencabral.com/podcast. You'll always find all the back episodes right there. So for your pre-workout, bottom line is this: watch out for the milligrams of caffeine. They usually have to list this separately. Keep in mind about 100 milligrams of caffeine, 100, 120 or so, is about 1 cup of coffee. A lot of these pre-workouts have 300 to 400 milligrams or more. That's like 4 cups of coffee. Of course, you're going to get energy from that. There's no mystery to that. But think about that. Doing it day in and day out, of course, you're going to become reliant on that because you are burning out your HPA axis, your hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis. And that affects your hypothalamus pituitary adrenal thyroid axis, which means in the long run, you can actually lower your metabolism by doing the very same thing you thought was going to boost it. So not good in the long term. You want to watch out for things like yom bean, which is a specific herb that, yes, although it can give you a boost as well, we have to watch out for is that you are no longer taking any herb or plant-based thing by itself. You are now mixing it with a half a dozen to a dozen other products inside this formula. And again, most of these formulas were not created by actual doctors or natural health doctors, okay? So they haven't been given any of the previous study. This was done by marketing companies who look at all these different products and say, oh, this one gives you energy. Oh, this one's been shown to give you energy. And yes, all of that is true. But now you're mixing 12 of those all in the same product. Think about how dangerous that could be if you don't know what you're doing, how it could affect your kidneys, how it can affect your liver when they weren't meant to be mixed like that in that specific way. Because remember, your liver is what has to process all of these other things. Now, something else I want you to watch for, I think it's really important too, a lot of them don't have like mawhung and specific herbs like that act as ephedrine or ephedra, because ephedra, they're not legal anymore in that way, but that can give you the same stimulant. Like, for example, there used to be a product that was a huge stimulant and it worked extremely well, but again, with long-term consequences, that contained ephedra, which led to epinephrine, essentially, a spike in that, caffeine, and aspirin. So those 3 products were just an amazing stack that bodybuilders used to kind of lean out. But it can lead to arrhythmias, heart palpitations, dizziness, migraines, again, kidney, liver issues. It can lead to, what else? Jitteriness, lightheadedness. So not great in the long run, of course, burning out the body. So what I'm trying to say is this: you can't get something for free, right? So if you're looking at this product, absolutely gives you this huge burst of energy. But I've given the analogy before. If you've been riding a horse all day, 12 hours for that day, right? You rode it like all day long, and at night, the horse is trying to rest, and so are you. But you say, you know what? We got to get back up. I need to make it to my next destination by morning. So you whip the horse. The horse is exhausted. But if it gets whipped enough, it will get back up and it will start riding. Now, you are damaging the horse in the long run, and it's going to be less effective every time you do that, right? You're not going to get as much out of it. So really important to look at. Now, I don't like to leave you just high and dry. I can't go on to what the safer alternatives are until I give you one more. Now, this is getting more and more common, but it's a little bit more disturbing to me than anything else. They're putting a product that acts just like Adderall or Ritalin into these products, and they're doing it in kind of what's called a more natural-based form, but still really controversial. And it's called dimethylamylamine, or just DMAA. If you see that in a product, please do not take it. And the reason is this: Adderall and Ritalin, this goes for children as well, they are legalized forms of speed. You are going to see generations of children right now who are just zombies, burnt out, exhausted, apathetic, anxious because they've been put on Adderall and Ritalin for really, in my opinion, no reason. And the reason is this, that if you can understand how the human body works and you really look at it, you will see why some children have these symptoms of why their bodies might be literally not ability to focus as well. The answer is not to medicate them. The answer is to correct those underlying imbalances. And this is something I'm very passionate about because kids aren't given the choice, right? It's not their choice to take a legalized version of speed. It's not. Or doctors and our parents in general, no one's trying to do the wrong thing, right? They're always trying to do what's best for this child. And if we can give them Adderall or Ritalin, well, their focus is going to go up. Well, of course it's going to go up. You literally just gave them speed. And anyone who says it's not, it is. Like, this is an amphetamine. And when you give someone amphetamine, it's going to wake them up. It's going to help them to focus, all of those specific things. But I mean, the truth is this, and again, it's no one's fault because it's not taught. There are underlying root causes to these things, and they can and should be corrected for the long run. Okay, but that's not my topic today. Please do check your products for this DMAA product. Usually it's a 1-3 directly before it is what you'll see. Again, so what can we do? We're a little tired one day and we want a little boost in energy. Totally understand that. Well, there's some great natural or more natural alternatives. One is you could simply have a small cup of black coffee. So you would get caffeine, but from a more natural source, and it would be organic and hopefully organic, right, from a black coffee. And that's only going to be about 140 milligrams, okay? Now, if you go to Starbucks, keep in mind that tall is 272 milligrams. That's a lot of caffeine. That's just in their small cup. So try to do a half decaf, half regular if you go in with the Starbucks, and that will give you then, about 130, 140 milligrams instead, a normal small. You could also do something even a little bit more natural, and about half the milligrams of caffeine takes it down to about 70, between 40 and 70, and that's a green tea. So a green tea, whether it's hot or iced, you could absolutely do that. That's going to give you a little boost, a nice little kick. I think that's a great thing to do. You'll get a little bit of the stimulating effect, but since it has L-theanine and other products, it doesn't give you the high or the low, the crash afterwards. And that's why, again, green tea can be a great product as well to use. Or you can do what I do. And a lot of times I'll do just a natural juice. So I'll do a vegetable juice that has either some carrot as a sweetener or beet as a sweetener. And I'll do some ginger in there. I might even add a little bit of cayenne pepper, and that's going to give me, it's called a vasodilator. So those types of things really open up and oxygenate your whole body. It works amazingly well. And of course, always in my gym bag and at my studios where we have gyms is I have my greens powder, my daily fruit and vegetable blend. And again, anything that alkalizes, anything that gives more minerals to your body, gives more oxygen. So I'll do that, and I'll simply shake that up in a water bottle, and I'll just drink it before my workout or during my workout. And I think that's absolutely amazing to do as well. Because again, your body's going to need the minerals. It needs more hydration anyway, so I love doing the water with it too. So you can choose any one of those alternatives. They absolutely work. That's what I use in my own practice, so that's what I'm recommending to you. Nothing fancy, but also nothing fake. That's the great thing about it. So my recommendation is, of course, is this. If you're using these pre-workout supplements right now you know the dangers. It's hard to sometimes stop cold turkey. So start to use the green tea or the vegetable juice with the carrot, a little bit of sweetener, the cayenne pepper, one of those things, the ginger, or use the greens powder, the daily fruit and vegetable blend, or even a small cup of coffee, and start to wean yourself off. If you're doing 4 capsules of something now or 2 capsules, cut back by 1, and then each week try to cut back by 1. And that will get you off these dangerous pre-workout supplements. But the other nice thing is this. Most of those products cost a couple dollars a day per serving, right? So you might save $60 a month, and that will allow you to either put it towards one of the more healthy things, whether it's a greens-based powder or whether it is some just some nice fresh vegetable juice, or whether it's from green tea. Pick one of those alternatives and start to wean yourself off by using a little bit of the caffeine from a more natural-based source, and then you can wean yourself off the caffeine as well. And again, use one of the greens-based, whether it's a fresh pressed juice, which is absolutely amazing, or whether it's the greens powder too. And as long as it's organic, that's fantastic as well. So hopefully this episode helped. If I missed something, there's something that you were looking to have answered. Again, this topic came about because of I actually train a lot of professional athletes as well as amateur athletes as well as CrossFit athletes. And a lot of people just for body transformation, they're taking these products and they're like, is it good or bad? And so we have to go through it. But also I get this question a lot from our podcast question webpage. So again, if this can help anyone, someone who's taking a pre-workout right now, please do feel free to share this show with them.
Did you know that the body really only becomes sick or imbalanced in only 2 ways? Over time, you become deficient in vital nutrients, and you also accumulate toxins internally and from the environment. As those nutrients diminish and you increase your total toxic load, your body then begins to show the first signs of dis-ease. It's actually quite predictable, and the good news is that if we know how you began to fill up that proverbial rain barrel, we also know how to empty it to begin the healing process. I was fortunate enough to learn this ancient healing process from my mentor after suffering from debilitating diseases for close to a decade. It was only when I began to implement these techniques did I finally overcome my illnesses and go on to live a life of energy and vitality that I now enjoy. I'd like to share with you now what I discovered after traveling all over the world and how to combine the best of ancient healing wisdom with state-of-the-art science. Allow me to teach you exactly how I've been able to help over 250,000 people to empty their rain barrel and begin to transform their body and lives into what they've always hoped they could be. To get your copy of the international bestseller, The Rain Barrel Effect, simply go to stephencabral.com/rainbarrel.